What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market and how this may affect NIO, what's going on with the technicals that just came out, and the latest earnings, and what's actually happening tomorrow as we have some major data coming out that will affect how NIO moves. I also want to apologize about the audio quality of this video. It's probably going to be a lot worse than usual because I'm actually recording this in the library because I did have a family emergency not too long ago. But anyways, I just want to say a couple of things as well before I get started with any of the analysis. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any could be a free NIO share. The offer ends in 4 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so NIO is down about 2.78% for the day as of right now. I tried to get that balance. I was thinking that NIO would try to actually get above $8. We actually did temporarily, then we ended up failing as the market ended up just tanking. And the market didn't crash extremely hard today, but it did actually see a bit of a pullback. The QQQ did close green, though, and some stocks did get some bounces here and there. Microsoft did close green, but the market's now looking weak as algos are shifting in favor of the bears. Now, first, let's talk about Meta. Meta just reported earnings. They actually beat on EPS and revenue. They did see an increase in their daily active users, and their monthly active users did also. It was basically as expected. They're expecting revenue to once again increase for the next quarter. But the real question is, how are the other earnings doing? And unfortunately, they did see a big decrease in their net income. Their margins actually are not the greatest. So a very mixed report, not too great, but some things were good because increased revenue beat on EPS and revenue. And as of right now, Meta, excuse me, sorry guys, Meta is pumping right now. It's up over 10%. Once again, they did beat on EPS and revenue, but I just want to note that we have to be super careful. Yes, Meta might close green. Yes, Meta may continue to pump. But the problem is there's no guarantee it's going to sustain these levels because the market's looking weaker by the days, and this will definitely affect NIO. But for tomorrow, we have GDP numbers coming out and initial jobless claims. This is obviously going to affect how the market moves, and especially the initial jobless claims coming out 1 hour before the market opens. Super important data. We also have Amazon and Intel reporting earnings for Thursday. We're going to see a big reaction to this by the time we get to Friday. And finally, when it comes to NIO, NIO actually mentioned the fact that they did see a big increase in the mileage, the cumulative mileage traveled by their users. Once again, more and more people are just continuing to use it, as they have about 320 plus thousand users around the world. So once again, very, very great stuff for NIO. But they have to keep continuing to improve their earnings if they want to see more sustained growth. Now, NIO, it does have a relatively low price price ratio, so it has some relative weakness compared to the markets. It's getting some equal ratings compared to the market. And Thursdays tend to be green only about 51% of the time, so make sure you're very careful during times like this. NIO is also seeing declining short interest, so that's a good sign for it, but it's not really helping with the price action because it's continuing to drop. Finally, volume is okay, and there's not a whole lot going on with the short volume percentage. Now let's talk about the prices. SPY is in this wedge-like pattern. Let me actually change the color so it's a little easier to see. I'm going to make this yellow, maybe like this kind of yellow. And if anything, we've been stuck in this for quite some time over the last couple of days. The real question is, how is this thing going to continue to move? Is SPY going to get a bounce, or is SPY, excuse me, sorry guys, is SPY about to bounce, or is SPY going to remain stuck in this falling wedge? In my opinion, a falling wedge does not guarantee anything. We could see this thing trying to bounce and retest the top here. I do believe that's going to happen tomorrow, a retest of 405, but I don't know if we're going to keep breaking out of it or if we're going to end up failing, because Microsoft had some pretty good earnings, and Microsoft ended up actually pushing up, but the market actually did not actually maintain that. The market actually slowed down. So in my opinion, I'm expecting a bounce tomorrow, but we'll see how we react to the big data. That's going to affect us the most. For Tesla, it's not looking too good. It's been just downtrending and downtrending. I think we could technically draw kind of like a wedge right here. We can actually start like down here. Just look at where support just so happens to be. And what's important about Tesla is it's also getting a little bit tighter as it continues to drop. Now, could this thing try to bounce a little bit? It is a possibility, but what's going to matter more is what do we actually see from Tesla going forward? I want to just note for everyone that it's looking relatively weak. It's breaking down. It's getting very close to filling the gap that formed way down here. So the gap is now like right here. So now Tesla has this gap, right? And we're actually getting closer to filling it. We actually started to fill a part of it today. If Tesla fails to hold 150, it's going to crash to 143. 150 is going to be very important. So far, it's trying to fill the gap. So it might try to get a small balance, but it looks to me like it's going to keep dropping. That's going to be bad for consumer discretionaries. I think Tesla will fill the gap anyways, maybe over the next couple of weeks, or it could happen even sooner. But I do believe it's going to happen now. It just looks very weak. NIO is also looking relatively weak as it's continuing to actually break below this $8 support. The next major support now for NIO, now that we broke below 7.8, we're going to be watching 7.5 or so. 705, 7.5, sorry, to about 7.6 is going to be very important. NIO has to hold this. If it fails, 7, then 6.5 could come. All right, so that's the more bearish case. To be bullish, we have to break and hold $8. So far, it's failed to do that. What do I think is going to happen tomorrow? I'm seeing NIO and the market bouncing a little bit, right? A small bounce. I think NIO is going to try to get closer to $8, but there's no guarantee it's going to hold because if the market gets rug pulled again, NIO is going to fail. You can actually see this on SPY. SPY is very likely going to try to bounce like right here. It's going to try to bounce right here. If it could break above this wedge, that's going to be a good sign. If it fails to break out of it, it's just going to remain getting tighter and just continuing to decline back and forth and back and forth. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I'm anticipating a small bounce and we'll see if we could break depending on the data. But until then, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. NIO to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright. And I also have some merch for you guys if you're interested in buying anything. And do not forget about the Mumu offer down below in the description. It ends in just 4 days. All right, NIO to the moon because the long term is very bright. Get ready for the big data as the GDP numbers and initial jobless claims data is coming out, and it will affect NIO, so make sure you are ready. Thank you, NIO to the moon, and peace out.